Hey y'all, my name is Christian. I'm a millennial, and this is the Millennial Mind. Millennials get a bad rap for being lazy, non productive members of society. We also get told that our opinions are warped and don't matter. This podcast is designed to express a point of view on the world as a whole, but from a millennial's perspective. I will talk about love, current events, pretty much everything that comes to mind. Come join me on this journey on speaking my mind, and I would love for you to speak your mind as well. This podcast is sponsored by Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. They'll distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere, even on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, you can download the Anchor app, that's ANCHOR, or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of The Millennial Mind. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your minds as well. First of all, do you hear something different? Do you hear it? Do you hear it? I got a new mic. Yay! So previously I was using my iPhone headphones and they were picking up all of the noise. You would think that I had like a house full of kids just listening to me on previous episodes. I promise you, I do not, okay? It just really sounds like it, but I do not. Now that I have a new mic that is supposed to be noise canceling, hopefully you're hearing little to any background noise in the background. Hopefully. Let me know what you guys think about this mic. But I'm excited because we are moving on up. We are moving on up. We are moving on up. And I'm dancing. I know you guys can't see me, but just imagine me doing a two-step in the background because that's what I'm doing. But I'm so excited about this mic, and I can't wait to see how you guys enjoy it as well. Okay, getting into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be a story time about what me and my husband have gone through in the past couple of days. And before I get into that, let me just start here. 2020 has been a crap show of a year. We all know that. From Kobe Bryant and his precious 13-year-old daughter, along with 6 to 7 other individuals tragically passing away in a helicopter crash, to COVID-19 just paralyzing our world. It has just been a crazy 8 months. I was telling my husband that I have not seen the world like this ever in my lifetime. Like, I don't recall the world being like this. Now, I lived through 9/11. Well, you know what? Before that, Y2K, 9/11, the market crash in 2008, and so on and so forth. But I don't remember it being this bad. And I've asked my parents about this, who lived double the amount of time I've lived. And they're like, yeah, I don't remember the world being like this either. So just the world has just been crazy for 2020, which is weird because I remember late 2019, so December 2019, just thinking like, oh yeah, 2020 is going to be my year. This is going to be a new decade, let alone a new year. I'm about to get my life together. I'm about to do what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do for my 30th because I'm turning 30 this year, yada, yada. Did not go anywhere that I had planned. If I could call this, I would have, like, if I could have gambled on this, I would have lost all my money. Because 2020 has just been crappy. So just those major events has been going on, or that has happened in the past 8 months. It's just really taken a toll on me emotionally, and I know that it has taken a toll on a lot of other people emotionally, mentally, even physically. On top of that, on this past Monday, so that was August the 10th, we had a storm. Now, when I looked at the Weather Channel and I looked at the Weather Channel app on, I believe it was Sunday, and they said that on Monday it was going to rain. So I was like, okay, that isn't anything that is out of the ordinary. So I'm going to go into the office, get a little bit of work done, and then I'll come back home. They didn't say that it was going to be a daggone tornado. Okay? I missed that completely. And if you're not familiar with what a tornado is, or tornado is something that it seems like it's mostly experienced in the Midwest of America. It is a strong wind that that goes really fast. It goes through your neighborhood and it basically tears up stuff like an angry woman. It tears up all of your stuff, okay? There has been instances where it has lifted houses off the ground, lifted trees, tore through houses, tore through buildings. Like, it can do a lot of damage. Usually when there's a tornado, you're supposed to be in your basement because that will offer you some kind of protection. People in the Midwest, we're like, oh, tornado, let's just look out and see where it is. Okay? That's what we do. We do not give a flying flip about a tornado warning or a tornado watch, okay? We should, but we don't. Because 9 times out of 10, we usually don't see a tornado. So we're like, okay, tornado warning, ain't nothing gonna happen. Man, this time there was no tornado warning, no tornado watch, and it like whipped through the neighborhood like nobody's business, okay? I remember being at the office, looking outside, and saw that the clouds were, or that the sky was pretty dark. And I'm like, it must just be a really bad, thunderstorm coming. And then all of a sudden, the lights flickered while I was at the office. I'm like, okay. And then they shut off completely. When I say that I felt like I was in Silent Hill and that a zombie was going to come out and attack me, that's how I felt. And if you're not familiar with Silent Hill, the most scariest video game that I've played to date, look it up and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and you will fear for your entire life, okay? So the office went pitch black. I could not see anything. And then all of a sudden the lights came back on. I'm like, huh, okay, that was interesting. All of a sudden I get a phone call from my husband. He's like, where are you? I said, I'm still at the office. He's like, do not leave the office. There is a tornado that just like whipped through our neighborhood. You got to wait for this weather to calm down. So I'm like, okay. And then he told me that the winds were so strong that the power was shut off. Now, we've had instances where we've had power outages, okay? And they usually last for like a couple hours or so at most. And then we get our power back. This power outage lasted for pretty much 2 days, okay? But I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So my husband said, do not come out right now. Stay at the office because you're much safer there. And the office building that I was in, it was a brick building. So I couldn't feel nothing. Okay. The building did not shake or anything. It was sturdy. I'm telling you, it was built on the rock of Jesus because I could not feel anything. So my husband told me to stay at the office. I said, okay. I stayed there until the weather died down. And then I came home with my husband saying that the power was out and, we couldn't really cook. We couldn't really do anything. I picked up some food on the way home. So I get home and the power outage is still going on. Now, granted, there was probably maybe about 2 hours between the time that I talked with my husband and him telling me to stay at the office and when I get home. So I'm like, okay, this is past the 2 hour window that we usually see the power come back on. So why isn't it back on? So we just assumed that the power was not going to come back on. What we did was we went to the store, we got us some supplies, and when I tell you that the streets were like pitch black, they were pitch black, okay? Like the whole town that I live in was just no power for the entire town. And I was so scared because I was driving, no traffic lights were working, no street lights were on, nothing. So it was just so difficult to drive to see where I was going. It was just crazy. So basically, that power outage lasted for 2 days. Me and my husband, we couldn't really cook all of our food. We were trying to save as much as we could for food. So we were putting them in coolers, um, trying to save as much as we could. There was some food that went bad. We had to sleep in the dark. Oh, we didn't have no television or anything. So only thing we could do was talk and sleep. It was just crazy. And like I was saying, the power was out for 2 days. And I'm sitting here praying, like, Lord, please help this power to come on. We're getting notifications from the electric company basically saying that, oh, you won't get power until Saturday. So it's like, wait a minute, 6 days without power? Like, what is going on? So on Tuesday, I prayed. I was like, Lord, just please help this power to come back on before Saturday. Thankfully, it came back on Wednesday, which was yesterday for me. And I was so grateful. I was never so grateful to see a light in my life. Okay. When I came home from work and I saw that there was a light on, I was like, thank you, Jesus. I could have kissed the ground. Okay. Like I was that excited. But then, you know what? I thought about it. Really? This power outage that me and my husband had, where, we couldn't see for a couple of days, we lost some food, etc. That's really a first world problem. Okay. And what I mean is, there are people in our world who do not have power, who can never get power because maybe they can't afford it. There are people who may have lost food, and me and my husband, if we lost food, we could go out and buy some. For some people, that's not the case. They don't even have the money to replenish their food. There are some people who don't even have a house to be in. They're homeless. So when there's a power outage within the whole city, they're outside in the dark trying to find themselves some shelter. Just even with what I was going through, I was still blessed at the same time. And when I thought to complain about the situation that I was in, complain that compared to other people, I'm just not living my best life, it could be a lot worse. It absolutely could be a lot worse. Like, for example, we didn't have any damage to our house after the tornado. No one got hurt during the storm. Our basement didn't flood. Like, we were truly blessed. Sure, we had a power outage that lasted for a couple of days, but we didn't go hungry. We could still take a shower. We could still um, drive ourselves to work, go to work. We could still get in our bed to go to sleep. Like, we still had the essentials that we needed to survive. And this was a learning lesson for me to thank God for every situation that I'm in, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Because if it's bad, it could be a lot worse. And when it's good, you never know when that bad situation is coming. So I know that the Bible says to give thanks in everything, in all things, give thanks. And this was a learning lesson to do that, because you never know when things can be taken away from you. We take things for granted so much. We take food, the access to food, for granted. We take access to electricity for granted. We take the ability to go to work for granted. We take the ability to um, the fact that we have a home to be in for granted. We take all of these things for granted, and we're never satisfied. We're always finding something to complain about, whether it's minute or whether it's really big. But this learning lesson has shown me that it could always be a lot worse. And whatever we go through, we have to depend on God, because that's the only one who could fix any issue that we have. Sure, 2020 has been a crap show of a year for various reasons for me and my family. But guess what? None of us have attracted COVID-19. None of my family members have passed away this year. None of my family members have been hurt by this storm that we had. Nobody has had any major property damage. Like, that is a blessing. It's such a blessing. And I'm just learning to count my blessings and just really be grateful for everything that I have in my life. And this power outage situation that I had, that could apply in anyone's life. What kind of power outage have you had in your life where you feel like you've been just slain, just emotionally, physically, mentally? You're in darkness and you don't know how you're going to get out of this darkness, because just the power is out in your life and you don't know where this light is coming from. All I got to let you know, all I got to tell you is depend on God. God is the light that you need that will bring you out of that darkness. God is the light that you need to illuminate the path that you need to take in order to get to your destiny. So in everything that you do, just depend on God, because that's the only light that you have in order to get you out of this power outage. But that's all that I have for you guys today. What did you guys think of this episode? Let me know by email. Send me your comments. Send me your topic ideas. You can do that at mindofmillennials@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment on our Facebook page, The Millennial Mind, and our Instagram page, _Millennial Mind. You can also listen to previous episodes on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Spotify, and now Google Podcasts. So, of course, I always have a quote for you guys because I love quotes. And this is what the quote says. It says, God's plan is always the best. Sometimes the process is painful and hard, but don't forget that when God is silent, He's doing something for you. Absolutely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And until next week, I will see you guys soon.